Hey everyone, I'm Lexi Jackson with the Sync Center Help Desk, here to tell you, you guessed it, about our next episode. This episode is dedicated especially to the aspiring music supervisors out there. In this episode, we cover all the things that we think are essential for aspiring music supervisors to know and what they should be doing if they aren't already. We even give a sneak preview about some of the topics we'll be covering in our upcoming in-class training session, the Sync School. And if you're already interested in music supervision and licensing, and you already want to reserve your spot, all the information can be found below or in the link in our bio. Our goal with the Sync School is to encourage and empower the future generations of music supervisors. Thanks so much, and I cannot wait to see you in this episode. Hey everyone, I'm Lexi here with John Pashada from the Sync Center. The Help Desk is back and we are here to help you. So today in this episode, we are going to be talking about what it takes to become a music supervisor. Okay, so I know for me, this is something that is near and dear to my heart, obviously. This is why I'm here. So I felt that there were probably a lot more people who were curious and wanted to know more. So I decided, let's do an entire episode surrounding it. And I know we also, John, you said that you got some feedback as well from some people who wanted to know the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, we've gotten the response has been great.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
the
it
people
really
want
has.
to.
Mhm.
No, I mean, people want to. They're like, hey, these help desk conversations are really great. I mean, would it be? I want to go deeper in this, and we can only go so deep on a 20-minute conversation. But
Right.
what's exciting about what we're going to talk about today, the Sync School training that we're going to be talking about, it's like we're going to really get granular and really talk about how we work, what our processes are, what our tools are. There's a lot of stuff we're gonna hit.
Yeah. This is cat's out of the bag.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So this conversation is only the tip of the iceberg of what is possible in terms of how to become a music supervisor. We are going to be starting something called the Sync School. It's looking to start sometime this month, actually, to be more specific, the last day of the month, February 28th. We're going to tell you guys a lot more about how to get started with that later, but I just want to get going with this because I'm really, I know I really, so without further ado, let me just ask you, Jen, what would you say are the top 3 things that someone looking to become a music supervisor should learn?
Gosh. Well, there's 5 things we're going to be hitting on in the training, and they're all, you can't not know one of them. You have to know all of them, right? Um, so
Mhm.
the first thing is really how music works, how licenses are done, how record labels are different from publishers, how you negotiate appropriately with each one, just kind of the institutional intelligence of how you negotiate with an artist different than it's his publisher or her publisher. Artists can be a little tweaky weaky, so you kind of have to dance around the egos a little bit more. But that's what we're
Mm,
calling
mhm.
day one is how music works. Who's who in the sync ecosystem. The next day, we're going to be talking about deal review. And some of this, we can't talk about on a YouTube channel, but we can talk about it in the training. It's confidential stuff that doesn't really live outside on its own because we're talking about deals that we've done and prices and negotiations and divas, so
Mhm.
but that's deal review. We're going to be looking at the legal structure of the agreement. We're going to be doing some tear downs of supervision projects, what the negotiations look like, offers, and final agreements. So that's what we're calling like deal review. You have to know how to quarterback it to get the final deal done.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we're going to talk about music replacement, managing your music. It's a big part of this. Um,
Yeah, we definitely talked about that before, but there's a lot more that goes into it. So it's good to hear that's something that you think is a really important thing to learn, so much so that you put it as a part of the training.
yeah, we're going to spend a whole day on that, and I think too in talking about sync school, there's a lot of things that come at it from the music side. We are coming at
Mm-hmm.
it from the buy side, which means
Mm-hmm.
we want to pay for this music for this film.
Right,
So it's a
right.
little it touches music, but it doesn't live on the music side. Like,
Right,
you know,
right. It's the other side of the coin, essentially.
the other
Whereas, you have the artist who wants to provide their music, but then you also have the supervisor who wants to license the music. So we're looking at it from the lesser known, in my opinion,
from
side,
the
because a lot
from
of
the
people,
supervisor side, the buy.
right, exactly, because a lot of people have content out expressing how to get your music heard by music supervisors, but that's all great and dandy until there are no supervisors to actually do the job to, you know what I mean? I mean, not to say that there aren't going to be any, but you
Right.
know what I mean? So that's the whole goal here. We want to encourage and empower people who want to become supervisors
And
themselves.
that's the whole purpose of this is there's more and more
Right.
music being used every day, and
More platforms to use it on.
there's fewer and fewer supervisors that can manage that process. So, wouldn't it be great, I mean, to develop the next generation of 20 or 30 professional supervisors who
Hmm.
can steer through the BS and really help filmmakers, like the call we were on with the ad agency yesterday. You know,
Hmm.
these people want to use pay for music. They're not trying to steal music. They just can't find anybody
There's
to manage it for them. So
right, right.
it would be great if we had, after doing this year, that there were 20 or 30 other supervisors we can recommend work out to, because honestly, there's not a lot out there, who could take the ball and really handle the conversation with integrity and clarity and get the deal done. You know, um,
Mm.
so so yeah, we're going to spend a whole day on music replacements. We're going to talk about saving money on projects. Um, like the call we were on yesterday with the agency, it's like they've got a certain amount. They don't have
Hmm.
Microsoft money, but they've got, a reasonable budget for their music. So how do we make it happen for them within that mid-tier range? Um, so that's a music replacement. Uh,
Hmm.
and then we're going to talk about getting hired the last day. How do you get hired as a supervisor? How do you solve people's problems? How do you manage people who don't do this every day, right? Like,
Right, right. You have to have the knowledge and the language even to be able to communicate what needs to be communicated. I know I saw in some of the and on the website for the Sync School, there's a special section for coded language to really explain and dive into the proper terminology to use when you're talking with an ad agency, for example,
yeah,
or whoever it is that needs the help. So, yeah, I
there's a,
definitely think that that's really important for sure because you don't necessarily learn that. I mean, not to say you don't, but it's a lot easier to learn that in action, without having to fumble through what you're trying to say. And I feel like having that as a part of the course as
yeah,
well is a really good step.
yeah. So that's super important, because you need to, when you're hired onto a film or an ad campaign or a corporate event,
Hmm.
you need to solve a very specific problem for a very specific person. And those are different. Filmmakers' problems are different than Microsoft's. Buick's problems are different than NCAA Final Four football. So you really have to kind of think about the person you're serving and go, okay, I know what she's dealing with. I know what's on her plate. How can I take something off her plate and help her to sleep better at night? That's really what we do. We take a
Hmm.
very specific thing off their plate and help them, you know, be more successful in what they're doing. So we're going to spend a whole day on getting hired. We're going to look at some of the tools we use internally. Again, it's kind of confidential. Like we don't just send them out to everybody, but within the Sync School
Right.
training, we're going to be making this available, stuff we've dialed in and learned, over the last 17 years. It's really to help
Mm-hmm.
people, the next generation of supervisors, kind of leapfrog and take some larger steps, as
Mm-hmm.
they work on projects. You know, don't make these 12 dozen, a dozen mistakes. They're fatal mistakes. So we want to save them
Right.
of frustration,
Right.
pain. Um,
Right.
so yeah, those are some of the things that we're going to be working on: how music works, deal review, SaaS tools, music replacement, and getting hired. So it's going to be
Cool.
a fun training. I mean, this. We've been doing this within the larger hacking music training, but this is the first time we're going to spin it out on kind of its own.
Mm-hmm.
What
Have
we're
it more personalized and specific to
it,
supervision.
it's all about sync and managing music for media because,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it could be a theatrical release, or I mean, we've done this dozens of times. There's all these permanent installation museums, the African American Music Museum here in Nashville.
Mm-hmm. Such
All,
a cool museum.
yeah, it's fantastic. So we were able to help them in handling all the licensing for their museum, which you don't think
Oh
of
wow, that's cool.
license. You don't think about,
Mm-hmm.
the rodeo museum in Texas, but you know, it is a
They
sync,
use music and they need the licenses for it.
and there's always video attached to it, so it's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a sync.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't think I knew that about you guys actually.
Yeah, I mean
That's awesome.
it's people have all these different scenarios, and we've gotten really good at helping them kind of eliminate this problem for their project. So that's kind of where we're
Mm-hmm.
going, Lexi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I know I originally asked what the top three things are, but to know that there's a whole week long
Yeah,
amount of things to learn, it's like, okay, well, I'm glad that it's over the course of that week as opposed to just it all in. Like
yeah,
a 20-minute, 30-minute episode is not enough, but having a week long process is definitely going to be helpful.
yeah. I was going to say, Lexi, too. It's as people are reserving their spot and scheduling for the training at the end of this month, um, they can expect about 4 hours a day. We're going to do 2 hours of training, and then we're going
Mhm.
to collaborative projects where we pair people up, and they not homework, but real world, the work.
Scenarios, yeah,
Yeah,
actually getting your hands dirty a little
yeah.
bit.
So it's about 2 hours of training,
Mhm.
2 hours of collaborative projects, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know I'm excited because
Yeah,
you're going to be co-hosting and emceeing the week, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm excited. I know I have a lot of new connections that I've made on LinkedIn. Woot woot, shout out to you guys. Um, and a lot of people are asking, how to get into the industry, and so I feel like something like this is definitely going to be helpful for sure.
Yeah,
But I just want to ask you
yeah,
next, who we're talking about making connections on LinkedIn and stuff like that. Who do you think someone who's aspiring to be a music supervisor should reach out to, and how do you think they should reach out to them?
how to approach a supervisor.
Yeah, but not necessarily like there's a lot like I always say there's a lot of content about how to approach supervisors when
Right,
you want your music to be placed, but how would you approach them when you want to do what they do?
right. I'm a big believer in riding shotgun alongside of them, asking if you can help out with a project, uh,
Mhm.
and just be, you don't have to be a know-it-all. You just need to kind of make yourself available and say, hey, how can I help you? How can I
Mhm.
take a piece of something off your plate and run with it and
Mhm.
prove that I've got my head on, that I can show up, that I know how to do the work, those kind of things. Um,
Mhm.
that's everything. That's everything. As we were talking to some new clients recently, you know, you were just riding shotgun. I don't expect you to know everything out of the gate, but I want
Right.
um, show
Ask me
you
all the questions. I
show
know
you. I
everything.
want to
Yeah,
throw you
no.
in. I want to throw you in the water in an appropriate way. I don't
Right,
throw you in the
exactly.
deep end, but I want to throw you in the medium end. And
Right, right.
and that's how you learn. It's like you don't learn by blog posts and
Right.
Facebook. You learn by doing. So
Mhm.
the whole
Mhm.
purpose of Sync School is to not only get the information with clarity and focus, but also to get actionable and to work on projects. So we're going to be talking about projects we're working on that day, and then projects we've worked on in the past that are, really indicative and revealing to, okay, this is why, um, we ended up replacing the music, or
Right, like, this was the methodology behind the decision that we made to do this or to do that or whatever the case was.
yeah, yeah, and we
Mhm.
we just need a confidential environment to do some of that because
Right, right, exactly.
we don't want to share
Yeah,
it out across the world, the interwebs. But it's going to be a great time. I'm really
the
looking.
internet is a young yet dangerous place.
Yes,
Um, okay, cool. So, yeah, I think that you said it best. You learn by doing and just reaching out to people who do what you do, or excuse me, do what you want to do,
right.
and just asking to help. I think literally the email that I sent you, the subject line was literally like, "Can I help you?" or
Right.
something like that. Because I just knew,
Yeah.
I want to
You didn't
learn
say
in the
anything
best
about
way
your
that I
SoundCloud
can.
link. You didn't say, I didn't even know you wrote music,
Uh,
you know,
there was not nearly.
but you were like, "Hey, how can I help you?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's as that's
Mhm.
smart and
Yeah,
very
exactly.
so that's a huge thing when approaching supervisors. Um, People want to work with people they like, and sometimes the internet just kind of turns people inside out and makes them weird, and it's good things happen face to face,
Mm,
you know.
yeah.
So
Right, right.
yeah, so that's how I would approach a supervisor. To say, hey, how can I
Mhm.
what can I take off your plate? I promise I won't let you down.
Right, right, right. Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so the last thing I'll ask, just to
Yeah.
get wrap this up, I will. My original question was going to be, do I need specific training or a degree to become a music supervisor?
Mm.
But with this training that we are talking about, the sync school, it seems like you don't necessarily need it, but it's definitely something that can help you.
Yeah,
Would
I
you
mean,
say that's the case?
you don't want to learn all the mistakes on your own. I mean, what one person's hindsight is the next
Mhm.
person's foresight. So what we've done is we've taken kind of all the best practices we've learned, all the bumps in the road that we've learned, and we've really distilled them into
Mhm.
5 days of high protein training. So you don't have to go to a 4 year university for this. You don't even have to be a lawyer,
Mhm.
you know. Um, Legal agreements. This is not brain surgery, um, and most of it is templated out anyway. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's good if you can get around somebody who's doing what you want to be doing 5 to 10 years
Mhm.
ahead of yourself.
Mhm.
Just learn from them.
Mhm. Then you're golden.
Yep.
That's cool. Okay, good. Like, I know I definitely feel validated in this conversation, because a lot of the things that I did in terms of reaching out to you, or whoever it was who I felt as though, I could learn from you, it was just something that I felt came naturally.
Yep.
But I just want to ask you, I know that I said that the last question was the last question,
That's
but
all right.
I've become inspired here.
No,
Um,
good.
what would you say would be a piece of advice you would give to someone who it doesn't come naturally to them
Yeah,
to reach out to people or to, put themselves out there like
that's a
that?
great question.
Yeah.
Um, pu- we do this thing called ask where every day we are responsible for asking one person something, and
Mm.
it's just like brushing your teeth. We talk about this in the hacking music training, um, and it doesn't take 10 minutes. It doesn't take 20 minutes. It's like 3 to 4 minutes a day. And
Mm-hmm.
you get in the habit. We talk a lot about habits and habit stacking. Just
Mm-hmm.
reach out to somebody once a day. Get on LinkedIn, find one person a day, and it when you do that 365 days a year, man, you know,
Mm-hmm.
20% of the people respond, 10% of the people respond. Most people will blow you off, um, and say no, or they don't know who you are, and that's okay. You're expected. Most people don't have time. Uh,
Right.
but when you do it every day, you ask every day, and you're not gurmy, you're not needy, you're not um, trying to finagle your way in without doing the work, but
Mm-hmm.
you're literally just asking to, hey,
You're being genuine.
I love what you're doing. It's this
Mm-hmm.
Disney project you're doing is really interesting. Um, Man, if I can help with X, Y, and Z, sign me up. I'm there. Just a simple three
Oh.
sentence email like that is is all it needs. So that's what for
Um,
introverts who kind of like aren't naturally out there. Hey, look at me! I want to go reach out. Um, Forcing
mm-hmm.
yourself to do it with the ask, every day. Spend 5 minutes asking someone to build a relationship. I mean, that's a pretty manageable task.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm. Yeah, 'cause it seems like it's like building a muscle, essentially. You just
yeah,
get better and better at, reaching out. Yeah, it's gonna be a little uncomfortable at first because 'cause you're not used to doing it, but the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more comfortable you start to feel with it, and next thing you know, you have, 10 different people that you can connect with.
and Lexi, this
Oh, that's
tying into
so
that,
fun.
gamification is a big part of it. So just getting a sticky note and every day putting a sticky widget on your door or on your wall turns it into a game,
Mhm,
and it's fun. It's small. It's not a
mhm.
huge. You're not trying to win a marathon. You're just reaching out to somebody
Right.
once a day. It just the act of putting that on your door or your wall really turns it into like a video game. At that point you're
Mhm.
Pac-Man eating dots and ghosts. You're having fun with it. It's not something you
Yeah.
fear. It's just like, oh, cool. I'm gonna fill up that whole door with asks postcards. A different person's
Mm,
name
mhm.
every day. Um, and it
That's
takes
a
the
good
sting
method.
and the awkwardness out of it. It's just kind of turned
Mhm.
into a game.
Yeah. Yeah, and remembering, I think, seriously, like, you don't necessarily want to, "Yo, what's up, John?" Like like, you don't wanna, like, hit somebody up like that, but at the same time, realizing that, being patient with yourself and understanding, like, "Hey, I might not be good at this right now, but nobody's expecting me to be fantastic
That's
right
right.
off the bat." You know what I mean? Like, it's okay, like you said, gamifying it and
Yeah,
making it a more personal journey rather than something has to come out of this right now, you
yeah.
know?
You don't have to
Um
know everything. You just need to be learning every day. And it's
Mhm,
like
mhm.
the agency we were talking to yesterday. You know, I I wanted you to be there because I want to throw you in the water. Um, and after 7 or 8 or 10 of those, then I have some confidence of going, okay, she's been on the calls for 10 to 12 different new film projects. I know she understands the appropriateness of that call and what needs to happen. You know, so
Mhm.
being a learner is huge.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I know that that was a lot of the reason too why I was so excited to have an episode like this because
Hmm.
um like you said, being a learner is huge, and I feel like having resources in place to help you learn, and having resources in place to help you learn specifically, like not just generalizing everything, but having something to hone in on, I
Right.
think is really important to that process of learning. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I know we talked a lot about this in school and about the things that are going to be covered there. I just wanted to reiterate that the Sync School will be starting February 28th. We're going to be putting out a lot more notices and things about that, how to sign up and everything in the description below, as well as on Instagram and Facebook, just putting out content so that you guys are aware of what's going on, updates and things. We actually just updated our coupon codes, which I'm really excited about. We have a special 10% off coupon code for anyone who uses the promo code HELPDESK, HELPDESK. So that's really exciting. And then I know I was a super big advocate for this student discount. Um, as you know, like learning is everyone who wants to learn should be able to do so. So we created a student discount. That promo code is going to be student sync. So that's STUDENT sync SYNC. Okay?
Hmm.
So definitely check that down below. And I am super excited to get started. So there's limited
Right.
spaces as well. Definitely don't wait.
Yeah.
You do not want to wait for something like this.
Yeah. What are we? We're capping it at 20. Is that right? 26.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So you
yeah.
definitely, you're right.
So
Definitely want to, you definitely want to grab your seat soon because we're keeping it small to really maximize the interaction
mhm.
with each student to really build muscle for them. So yeah, you're exactly right.
Right, you want to make it personalized so that people aren't it's not one instructor and then like 600 students and you can't even like get your question in, you want to have that dialogue, whether that be with other people in the room or with one of us, like I think that that's super important too to learning because not everybody learns the same. So
Right.
you want to be able to make space for the different learning styles that people have. So
Yes.
keeping a small class size is definitely going to be important. So definitely, like I said, do not wait. I have very good feelings about this, and
It's going
it's
to be
going
fun.
to fill up quick.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing I will say, everyone, as you know, we are here to help you guys. So if you have any feedback for us in terms of what you think we could do better, what you think you need more explanation on, some topics that you want us to cover, definitely drop those in the comments below wherever you're watching this. And I cannot wait to see you in the next episode for sure. I'm super excited.
See you guys then.
Yeah, thank you. Bye everyone.
Yeah, Lexi. Talk to you soon.